Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all the praise, glory, and honor due to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem, Barakak the bonus to the elder apostles who rule well of the great millstone that taught me the truth, and much love, greetings, and salutations to the tabernacle of David, the hopeful elect. And this is just a World War III update. This is from SputnikNews.com. It says the U.S. will no longer provide sanctioned waivers for states importing Iran oil. And this was posted today, April 22nd, 2019. All right, and this basically goes into the oil gas war over Syria, in which you have these different Islamic countries. All right, you have Qatar, you have Saudi Arabia, basically those Sunni Islamic countries that are battling the Shiite or Shia Islamic countries over the territory of Syria, because Syria is the landmass where these nations are fighting for the construction of oil gas pipelines that would be pumped through Syria in order to supply fuel to Europe, which is the world's largest energy market. All right. So you have Iran that's backed by Russia that actually put a pipeline, all right, that would go from Iran through Iraq into Syria to supply to Europe. And those other opposing countries are not with that because the U.S. is actually in support of it. OK, so that's what this battle is all about, as well as the fact that the Israeli state are also hell bent on trying to destabilize the Iranian regime, because the reason why they haven't been successful with taking out Iran, Syria, the Assad regime, is because of Iran. OK, so that's why all this is building up over there, because this is leading up to the final World War III. All right. So what I want to do is I'm going to read through this article, and I'm going to just hit a few precepts. It says, announcing the decision, the White House explained that this move aims to bring Iran's oil exports to zero. And this is basically the U.S. waging an economic war against Iran in order to, put the pressure to them. All right. It says, undermining the country's principal source of revenue, because this is the biggest way that they have a healthy economy is through all the oil exports. And Europe has to rely upon those oil exports. They have to import oil from those regions. But the U.S., the ally with them, they feel as though you should be getting your supply of energy from us, your allies. But the U.S. charge way more. It's actually cheaper to get it through the enemy. So that's why you have a big division, all right, in of relations between those European countries and the West. OK, it says the White House announced the decision not to reissue waivers on Iranian oil after they expire in May. Washington additionally stressed that the decision is intended to bring Iran's oil exports to zero, ruining a vital source of revenue for Tehran. President Donald J. Trump has decided not to reissue significant reduction exemptions when they expire in early May. This decision is intended to bring Iran's oil exports to zero, denying the regime its principal source of revenue, the statement said. So basically, they want to continue on after that expires with sanctions upon Iranian oil exports. So all those countries that rely upon that on those imports, it would actually affect them, and they would have to basically, jump ship and have to rely upon, the Saudi Arabian, Qatar, UAE, market supply of oil. OK, so it says the statement went on to say that the United States, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates have pledged to ensure that the global market will have sufficient oil supply following Washington's decision to terminate sanction waivers for countries importing Iranian oil. The United States, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, three of the world's great energy producers, along with our friends and allies, are committed to ensuring that global oil markets remain adequately supplied, the statement said. Beijing has already commented on the U.S. report's plans to scrap oil sanctions, saying that it stands against Washington's unilateral restrictions against Tehran and will take every effort to defend the interests of national companies doing legal business with Iran. Okay. So, of course, that's going to force China to step in because they're also allied and they have economic interests with Iran. Okay. And this goes to show because, brothers have been doing videos on how Russia has been declaring basically like a new world order for the Russian, Chinese, Iranian alliance to actually, take over, the regions and have those nations that have been solely relying upon the West are now starting to jump ship to rely upon the Russian, Chinese, Iranian alliances. Okay. And that's what you see happening. Russia is actually coming out and saying that, that Western globalization, the nations are starting to get fed up and sick of it. And basically these different countries want their own sovereignty, so, all this is part of, the inner conflict that they're having. Okay. It says Pompeo press conference commenting on the issue. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo stated that the U.S. has been in discussions with other countries to help them wind down Iranian oil imports. Before our sanctions went in effect, Iran generated as much as $50 billion annually in oil revenue, Pompeo said. Overall, today, we estimated that our sanctions have denied regime well north of $10 billion. The Secretary of State also said that U.S. will give no grace period after the end to Iran oil waivers on May 1st, on May Day. Okay, so, hey, something could possibly happen on that particular day when it expires. All right, who knows? We know that's a occultic day. It says that the current waivers expire on midnight, May 1st. There are SRE waivers that extend beyond that period, full stop, Pompeo told reporters. He also noted that Washington will keep imposing sanctions against Iran until it agrees to negotiate. And that's funny coming from them because they actually had a negotiation with you before. You had the Iranian nuclear treaty, which they actually honored that particular treaty. You decided to pull out of it. So how could they trust any type of negotiations with you when you showed in the past that you really can't be trusted when it comes to agreements? Really, you just trying to pick a fight with Iran because your Zionist daddies are telling you to go after them. That's what this is all about. All right, it says, we're going to zero across the board. Pompeo told reporters there are no oil waivers that extend beyond that period, full stop. Okay. So basically that's, them talking about having until they reach a negotiation. Well, you broke the last negotiation, man. They actually held to it. All right. Matter of fact, let me get a precept real quick. And this is why the scriptures say you can't trust in this devil, man. Trust not thine enemy. Esau is the biggest liar and deceiver on the planet Earth, man. That's exactly who he is. This is Psalms 55:20. It says, he have put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He have broken his covenant. And Esau has entered into different agreements and covenants, treaties with different countries, different nations, for millenniums. And Esau always breaks them. All right. He's not faithful. You can't trust him. He'll never agree. Everything has to be to Esau's benefit in order for him to agree. If it doesn't benefit him, all right, if he doesn't get the upper hand on the deal, then there's no deal for him. That's how Esau is. Okay, and that's what made them back out of that treaty that Obama started with Iran during his administration. Okay, so it says, despite the increasing economic pressure, Pompeo has recently assured that the Trump administration is not seeking regime change in Iran through direct military intervention, but eventually it will lead to that. And you've been hitting at it. Why are you calling their forces? Why are you listing them as a terrorist group? Usually, when you declare another nation as a terroristic operation, that's an indicator that you are alluding to war with them, that you're eventually going to go to war. All right. I mean, these different plays in the book, man, you keep using them over and over, man. Okay, we know Esau's play before he calls them out. All right. It says, saying that the administration is not going to do a military exercise inside Iran, but you're getting ready to do it in Venezuela. You can't trust these devils, man. Let me go back to the scripture, man. Psalms 55:21, it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And this is why you can never trust the enemy, man. You can never trust this devil. All right. And these nations are starting to come to that realization. Even North Korea got to see that. You know, when they tried to have a deal with Trump about the denuclearization of their arsenals, they saw how they backed out of the Iranian deal. And they was questioning whether they should honor the agreement that they have with the U.S., seeing how they were treating these other different agreements. All right, the INF treaty, that's another one. They never stick to none of the agreements that they make. Okay, so that's why you can't trust them. It says the move to end waivers, however, did not come as a surprise after the U.S. withdrew from the so-called Iran nuclear dead joint comprehensive plan of action last year. It was repeatedly stressed that it wants all importers to eventually cut their oil sales from Iran to zero, which is likely to have a significant impact on the Middle Eastern country. Okay. So, that's pretty much it, So, of course, them trying to put that economic pressure to them, it's only going to lead to war. Okay. Because it's only going to be so much. And we know that Russia and China has economic interests with Iran. So if you mess with their economy, you're really messing with that whole alliance. Okay. And this is all strategic moves being done on both sides because there is a paradigm shift. Okay. Where nations are starting to turn to Russia and China. All right. For different deals and agreements, man. Supply of energy, supply of weapons, so on and so forth, man. Okay. And this is all a big oil war that's happening. It's all over oil. And the scriptures talk about, how Esau would be blessed with the fatness of the earth. And fatness is talking about the oil, the riches of the oil or the substances that comes out of these different lands, man. Okay. So that's why they down there in Venezuela, because the U.S. wants to place their corporations, all right, in these lands so they can actually produce and have them shipped, to make money. In order for them to do that, they got to replace these. They got to have regime change. They got to get rid of the current leader. So that's why they oppose to get rid of Assad out of Syria and to get Maduro out of Venezuela. All right. So let me go to Matthew 26. All right. Matthew 26, verse 6. It says, and you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And we're seeing these things happen, man. This is all building up to war. That's why we keep bringing you these updates. Okay. Let's go from there to Habakkuk. Okay. When we see these things, man, we're supposed to rejoice that we're getting closer to the end of this man's kingdom. All right. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. It says, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry." All right. And basically, this is the last world's war that the Lord's going to have these nations enter into before Yahushua comes back and destroy these nations and set up the kingdom of heaven for the nation of Israel. Let's go to Revelation 11 and verse 14. And it says, "The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe come quickly." All right. And World War III, man, is going to be the final war that ends all wars, man. Okay. And then shall we receive the kingdom. Okay. So that's pretty much it. I just want to do a quick up. I'll try to post this in the description box, so you can go into it. All right. And this is part of, watching, the scriptures tell for us to watch, to stand upon our watch, man, on the watchtower. All right. So, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this was edifying. Call Allah Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Till next time. Shalom.